This looks like paradise. White sand, jungle mountains, no cars, no roads. But this island used to be a maximum security prison. Before tourists came here to disconnect, people were sent here to be isolated. First, the sick, then prisoners. And before that, this hidden base were used by pirates, smugglers, and people trying to disappear. So how did one of Brazil's most isolated islands become one of its most beautiful? This is Ilha Grande, and this is a story of how a prison island became paradise. Now today Ilha Grande seems like a place that forgot to rush. There are no traffic jams, people are just chilling at the beach, drinking, talking, and looks like it's a really paradise. And you can hear people from all over the world. You can hear like French, German, Portuguese, obviously, and many accents of English. People walk slower, they talk to strangers, they sit by the water and actually look at it. The island has more than 100 beaches, jungle trails, waterfalls, small villages, and this strange feeling that you are close to Rio de Janeiro, but also very far away from everything. And that's what makes it so interesting. This island has many lives: secret lands, pirates hideout, quarantine hospital, and even prison colony. And only after all of that, it became the paradise people travel to today. People fly across the world to Bali looking for paradise. Beaches, jungles, waterfalls, a place to slow down, disconnect and breathe. But just a few hours from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil has an island that offers that same feeling, with a completely different story underneath it. Bali is famous for spirituality, wellness, cafes, yoga studios, digital nomads and endless options. Ilha Grande is different. It's simpler, more raw, less polished. And maybe that's exactly why it feels so powerful. Because this island doesn't feel like a place designed for tourists. It feels like a place that survived history and somehow came out peaceful. Before Brazil even existed, this belonged to Tamoi's people. And just like everything in America, it all started with natives. They were just basically traders. They were fishermen, they were traveling to the mainland all the time, but then came Portuguese colony. When Europeans arrived on this coast, the island changed forever. Suddenly, these waters became part of a much bigger history. Gold, sugar, coffee, weapons, ships moving along the coast, and Ilha Grande had something very valuable: places to hide. From the open ocean, many of these bays are hard to see. The coastline is broken into coves, beaches, rocks, caves, and forest. A ship could just disappear here. Now, when I go to Ilha Grande, I always take this book, Treasure Islands, and there is a really clear reason for that. You see, they were actual pirates right here, which is kind of crazy. And so let me tell you a story. In 1592, English pirate, yes, real pirates, Thomas Cavendish, he hid his fleet right here after raiding Portuguese ships. And why? Well, just look at this. This is the perfect spot. You can basically watch the open sea while they are not gonna see you, because here at this island, there are so many coves, there are so many hidden bays, which is really great thing for the pirates. And whether every treasure story is true or not, the logic is obvious when you are here. If you wanted to hide a ship, this would be a perfect place. If you wanted to move goods without being seen, the island gave you trails, bays, rocks, and forests. And even today, Ilha Grande still has places that feel made for secrets. Hidden beaches, narrow trails, coves you only reach by boat, and caves where the ocean disappears under the rock. Now, what's also really cool is that here there are a lot of hidden gems. So for example, now I'm going to the cove, like glowing cove. You're gonna see it in a minute. Places like this cave feel almost unreal. You go from bright tropical water into darkness, and suddenly the sea starts glowing blue from underneath. It feels like the island is telling you something. What you see on the surface is never the whole story. And this became one of Ilha Grande's first transformations. From home to hiding place. A beautiful island with secrets. But the island's strangest chapter didn't begin with criminals, it began with sickness. In the late 19th century, Brazil was dealing with epidemics and the fear of disease arriving by sea. Ships were coming into Rio carrying passengers, workers, immigrants, sailors, and sometimes illness. The city needed a barrier, a place close enough to control, but far enough to separate. Ilha Grande became that place. In 1800s, a lot of European immigrants came to Brazil, and unfortunately, a lot of them were sick with cholera. So Brazil decided to place them here, in this island, in this hospital. Unfortunately, a lot of them did not leave this island. Now, nowadays this place is kind of closed because it literally says that it's gonna, like, it can fall apart anytime. And you can't really visit it. Well, I mean, you can. This is like the whole security and there's full of graffiti, but I'm not sure you really want to because it's full of bats and other insects. Lazaretto was built as a quarantine complex. Imagine arriving by boat after weeks at sea. You can see Brazil, you can see land, you are almost there. But before entering Rio, you are stopped, checked, separated, sent to an island. For some people, Ilha Grande was the doorway into Brazil. For others, it was the last place they ever saw. But unfortunately, the sad story of this island didn't stop after the hospital was closed. In 1940, President Vargas decided to use this building as a prison. Ilha Grande became one of Brazil's most notorious prisons islands. The same isolation that once served medicine became punishment. The prison at Dois Rios held common criminals, political prisoners, and people that stayed wanted far away from the mainland. And when you understand the geography, it makes sense. This island is beautiful, but it's also so hard to escape. To leave, you need a boat, you need timing, you need help, and around you there's ocean, jungle, mountains, and distance. Many people say that this prison actually was way more brutal than Alcatraz. And for prisoners, this was not paradise. It was the end of the line. Supplies came by boat, guards and prisoners lived with the island's silence. The outside world was close enough to imagine, but far enough to feel unreachable. Some prisoners worked, some planted gardens, some tried to build routines inside a place built to remove them from society. But I don't want to tell this like a true crime story, because this video is not really about crime, it's about transformation. How one place can be used again and again for isolation and still somehow become a symbol of freedom. And this is what makes the island's history so strange. The same beauty that makes Ilha Grande feel peaceful today was once the reason it was chosen for isolation. In 1994, the prison was closed, and with that, Ilha Grande entered another life. For decades, the prison had shaped the island's economy, reputation, and identity. People didn't come here for beach holidays. The island was associated with danger, punishment, and escape attempts. But after the prison closed, something unusual happened. The island didn't become another overdeveloped beach destination. It didn't fill with highways. It didn't become a city. It didn't become a resort island packed with cars. Instead, nature was allowed to remain powerful. Protected areas, limited access, and the difficulty of getting around all helped preserve the feeling that makes Ilha Grande special. And slowly, the island changed again, from prison to protected paradise. Today, people come here for the opposite reason, not to be isolated as punishment, but to disconnect by choice. They come for beaches, hiking, waterfalls, silence. They come because the island feels safe, social, and international. You hear English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, Italian. People come from everywhere. And because the island is small, you actually meet them. On boats, on trails, at dinner, at sunset. It's one of the places where making new friends feels natural. Part of that is the geography. This is still Rio de Janeiro state, yes, but it's also an island. Access is limited, movement is visible, there's police presence, and the logistics make everything feel different from the mainland. People relax, they slow down, they open up. For the last 5 years, I always celebrated my birthday in December on Ilha Grande. Now, after you've been here for a while, it's quite inevitable that you compare it to other tropical islands like, I don't know, Hawaii, Bali. And, well, let's just compare it a bit and let me rather tell you about, like, my impression, pros and cons, I think, about this island. So basically what I really like here is that it is quite international, so you can see that since there are lots of European tourists, these services here are really like great, high level, and I can tell you that, for example, it's not everywhere in Brazil. For example, in Rio, sometimes the like food service could be really slow and maybe not that high quality. Here everybody already knows like how foreigners like their food, how fast. And of course it does reflect on the prices, but at the same time, like you get what you could have gotten in like another place in Europe, for example, which is really nice. Also, yeah, obviously, if you're a foreigner, you're gonna find someone, I guess, even from your country as well, which is really nice. So yeah, like you can make friends every day. In terms of the nature, you can see a lot of nice places. It's really beautiful. You can travel around the whole islands and you can always find something new for you. And it's just gorgeous. You just saw some shots of this, and I didn't show you even like the half of the islands. Another important point I'd say is the safety, and I guess this is one of the reasons why people come here, because since this is basically an island, it is quite safe and you can just like walk around at night and nothing's gonna happen. And of course there's the police and stuff, so yeah, you basically feel safe. In terms of the cons, I think the biggest con is that the infrastructure here is still not that modern, so not that up to date. So basically you can see now more and more fancy stuff like yoga classes and like meditation retreats. Many of the hotels are a bit worn off, which does suck a bit, because obviously when you pay a bit extra you want to see something maybe even a bit fancy with a nice view, but basically sometimes you just get like an old room with really old aircon. And in terms of the activities, I guess it could also improve a bit. There are just a couple of gyms and I guess like only one multi-functional court, like playgrounds. Of course it's still Brazil, and of course there is a football pitch and it's quite full all the time. But hey, maybe after all this a bit rural activity is the whole point. Because the lack of options becomes part of the experience. For example, the last time I went there, the whole island suddenly lost the electricity. So it was actually fun. I wasn't like doom scrolling and looking for something to eat or I don't know what to do. I didn't start to panic. I basically just went out and made new friends. So yeah, I mean, this is really a good thing. And in general, there's less to consume, less to optimize, less to chase. You don't come here to build the perfect routine. You come here to lose the need for one. And if you want movement, Ilha Grande is not actually the end of the world. In about an hour by boat, you're back on the mainland. From there, you can reach Rio de Janeiro, one of the most visited cities in the world, with airports that you connect you to Brazil, South America, and many other places. So yes, Bali wins on convenience, but Ilha Grande wins on presence, at least for me. So the strangest thing about Ilha Grande is that the same thing that once made it useful for isolation is what makes it today beautiful. The distance, the ocean, the lack of roads, the difficulty of access, the feeling of being removed from the world. Once people were sent here because they had no choice. Now people come here because they want exactly that feeling. To be far away, to be unreachable for a while, to remember what silence sounds like. Ilha Grande didn't start as a paradise, it survived its way into it. And maybe that's why it feels so different. Now, if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more videos about Brazil beyond the obvious tourist spots. Places that are beautiful but also complicated, surprising and full of history. Because Brazil is not just a country you visit, it's a country that you slowly understand. Thanks for watching, my name is Pev, see ya.